The final day of the tournament dawned heavy with anticipation. The grand hall was packed to the brim, cameras flashing, reporters murmuring, and families buzzing with expectation. Everyone knew this was no ordinary match, this was a story that had gripped the city. The soldier's daughter, the underdog, had clawed her way to the finals against all odds. And now she would face the reigning champion, Alexander Pierce, a 14-year-old chess prodigy known for his icy composure and ruthless play. Daniel walked Emily into the hall, his steady presence shielding her from the weight of countless stares. She looked smaller than ever amidst the towering crowd, but her eyes held determination. He bent down, whispering the same words he had spoken before every match. "Play the game, Em. Play it the way only you can. And no matter what happens, I'm already proud." Rebecca arrived moments later, her presence commanding instant attention. This time she wasn't there as the untouchable CEO of Grayson Enterprises. She was there as someone standing behind Emily and Daniel, visibly invested in their fight. She ignored the skeptical whispers of other sponsors and parents, her gaze fixed only on the Carter family. The announcer called the names. Emily and Alexander sat across from each other, the final board set between them. Alexander's parents stood proudly in the front row, their confidence radiating. To them, this was a formality, just another trophy to add to their son's collection. "Are you ready?" the referee asked. Emily glanced at her father, who nodded. She swallowed hard, then whispered, "Yes." The game began. Alexander opened aggressively, his style sharp and unforgiving. Emily matched his pace, but the pressure was immense. Every move was scrutinized by cameras, every hesitation magnified by the crowd. Within 20 minutes, Emily was struggling. Alexander's pieces dominated the board, and whispers filled the hall. "She's done. Nice try, but she's no champion. This is where the soldier's kid falls." Daniel's hands gripped the railing so tightly his knuckles turned white. He wanted to step in, to shield her, but he knew this was her fight. Rebecca noticed his tension and leaned close. "Trust her, Daniel. She's stronger than you realize." Emily stared at the board, her heart pounding. She felt the old familiar sting, the same one she had felt at school when kids laughed, the same one when people said she didn't belong. Tears threatened to blur her vision, but then she remembered her father's words. "The board doesn't care where you come from. Only how you play." Taking a deep breath, she made a bold sacrifice, giving up her queen to disrupt Alexander's position. The crowd gasped. Even Daniel's heart sank for a moment. But then, slowly, her plan unfolded. Her knights danced across the board, her pawns advancing with quiet precision. What had looked like recklessness revealed itself as strategy. Rebecca leaned forward, whispering to herself, "She's her father's daughter." The tension in the hall was unbearable as the match stretched on. Alexander grew visibly frustrated. He was used to opponents crumbling under pressure, not a girl who played with the calm resolve of a soldier on a battlefield. "You're lucky," Alexander muttered under his breath. Emily shook her head, her voice soft but firm. "I'm prepared." Move after move, she clawed back control. The hall, once filled with murmurs of doubt, now sat in stunned silence. Cameras zoomed in as Emily pushed Alexander into a corner he hadn't anticipated. Daniel's breath caught in his throat as he recognized the formation. It was the same endgame tactic he had taught her years ago on their old wooden board at home. And then it happened. Emily placed her rook down with a trembling but confident hand. "Checkmate," she said. The hall erupted. Applause thundered, reporters rushed forward, and even Alexander sat back in disbelief. Emily Carter, the soldier's daughter, the underdog mocked from the start, was now the champion. Daniel felt his vision blur with tears he refused to let fall. He moved quickly, lifting Emily into his arms as the crowd cheered. "You did it, Em," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You showed them all." Emily clung to him tightly, her small voice muffled against his shoulder. "I didn't just want to win, Dad. I wanted them to see me the way you do." Daniel closed his eyes, overwhelmed. "They see you now, sweetheart. And they'll never forget." Rebecca approached, her eyes glistening in a way no one had ever seen from the steel-hearted CEO. She placed a hand on Emily's shoulder, her voice thick with emotion. "You didn't just win a game. You taught everyone here a lesson. Including me." She looked at Daniel, their eyes meeting in a moment that carried more weight than words could capture. For years she had thought strength meant wealth, power, and dominance. But standing before her was a man who had taught his daughter to fight not with arrogance, but with resilience and heart. And she realized she was speechless, not because she had lost to him in chess, but because she had found in him something she never thought she would: respect, admiration, and perhaps something deeper. Of course, not everyone celebrated. Alexander's father stormed out, muttering about unfairness. Journalists swarmed, their questions sharp and chaotic. Daniel, how does it feel to raise a champion? Emily, what's your message to those who doubted you? Daniel held his daughter's hand, steady as always. Our message is simple, he said firmly, his voice carrying through the microphones. Don't ever laugh at someone because of where they come from. Strength, talent, heart, they don't belong to money or status. They belong to those who refuse to give up. The hall erupted again in applause. Even Rebecca clapped through her tears, knowing those words weren't just for Emily, they were for everyone who had doubted, including herself. That evening, the three of them sat quietly in Daniel's modest living room. The trophy gleamed on the small wooden table, but Emily was asleep on the couch, clutching her pawn piece in her fist. Rebecca looked at Daniel, her voice low. You know, she may have won the trophy. But you're the real champion. Daniel shook his head. No, she fought that battle on her own. I just gave her the tools. Rebecca smiled softly, her gaze lingering on him. And that's what makes you remarkable. For the first time in years, Daniel felt something beyond duty and survival. He felt seen, not as a struggling single dad, not as a veteran out of place, but as the man he truly was. And in Rebecca's eyes, he saw not the cold CEO, but a woman moved by the very thing she once overlooked, the quiet strength of love. The laughter that once mocked him had been silenced forever. In its place, a story had been written, of a father's sacrifice, a daughter's courage, and a truth no one could deny. Greatness isn't measured by wealth or power, but by the heart that refuses to give up. And for the first time in her career, Rebecca Grayson, the CEO who was never speechless, had nothing left to say.